Growing up, I struggled in school because I had extreme ADHD. I was a premature baby when I was born, and so my jaws didn't develop well, and so I couldn't say a lot of my speech sounds. It made it very difficult for me to succeed in school. Hated school, but thankfully I had great teachers in Caldwell, especially my kindergarten and third grade teachers. Uh, really stuck out to me and helped me get past that. I'm very thankful for the people I had in my life and for the school system, for all my teachers. I mean, all my teachers were amazing. I don't feel as alone like I did. I thought that I was the only one that struggled with ADHD and with speech and with reading and with math, just academics as a whole. But I don't feel that way anymore because I get to help kids feel not so alone like I did. I see kids now that I don't have anymore, and they're growing, their confidence is growing, and it's really cool to see that. Caldwell Opportunities is a place where they help people who have ID, so intellectual disabilities, and they help with them with life skills and social skills, and it's really cool. We always have each other's back. If someone needs something, there's constantly somebody wanting to reach out and help, and we love everyone. And there's just great people that live here, so.
I do feel sometimes that when you go to a dealership and you need something done, that you do get treated a little bit differently because you're female. And I think sometimes we are missing that connectedness with knowing who is in our community. But I just love to see our county blossom and focusing on the positives. I call us the best kept secret in Caldwell County because people seem to not know that we're here. Or they'll say, what's that building up on the hill? It looks like a home from down on the street below us, but it's the last building of Davenport College, which was a girls' school. Started 1857-58, and then it closed about 1933 because of the Great Depression. We have a lot of people that have always lived here and don't realize we have a museum here. So one of our goals is to dispel that and also to work closely with the school system because we are a resource that they can use, and students need to know about where they live. We all need to know about where we live.
I got tired of the big city and the rush, and I wanted something different. I had a open heart surgery when I was age 50. Things that I didn't think about before became more important. And the next thing I know, Google texted me back after I had placed an application and said, we'd like to interview you. The next thing I know, I'm being offered a position as the security manager for Google's data center here in Lenoir, North Carolina. And it's probably been one of the best changes of my life.
Well, I've always lived here, but I know what other people's perceptions are, that we are not educated, not informed, not well-traveled, and that could not be further from the truth. Caldwell County's home. It's home. And Caldwell County is unique in our partnerships. We bridge the divides of services for individuals together. I've always said the strength of Yoke Fellow is our partnerships with other agencies.
I felt like if I wanted to get involved and do some of the things that were passionate to me around leadership, that Lenoir Caldwell County was a great place to do it because it made sense. I knew the past struggles of the people, challenges from the furniture market changing. We have more scenarios where our young people are people that live in Lenoir move away and start their families and start doing things other places. But with all those pieces, it just felt like God was saying, this is the time to come home and let's figure out how I can sit down and make a difference and, try to help some people. Over time, you kind of see that there's opportunity for growth. I like the different climates. Of course, the cost of living was a little bit of a factor. Access to the mountains and the parks, and I wanted my children to kind of experience some of that hometown feel that I experienced versus the DC environment or, living in a larger city. So this was a better place for me to raise my children.
I would think that when I was young, I was like most young people. I tried to be cool and explore the envelope. And I thought maybe Caldwell County is just a little too staid, or thought at one time about going to New York 40 years ago when I was young. But I made the conscious decision that I wanted to try to make a difference in this community. I think if you know someone here and get to know them and put yourself in their shoes and talk with them and keep an open dialogue, I think people are very willing to listen to each other and to be willing to help their neighbor.
I have a brother-in-law who had lived in the area and would always tell me that it was a great place to raise kids. My wife and I visited some years back. Didn't make the move right away. It took us about 5 years till we finally decided to move. I find that living in Caldwell County is much more easygoing than from where I'm originally from, Los Angeles, California. Originally, we had researched the Raleigh-Durham area, but when we first got here, Caldwell County offered me a job, so here I am 20 years later. Like my brother-in-law had mentioned, it was a great place to raise kids. My two boys came as elementary school kids, and now they're both college graduates and very successful. At first, there weren't many Hispanics in the area, but as the population has grown, my organization, Caldwell County Schools, hired more interpreters like myself to serve the community.
I grew up here. I think it's a great place to live. We have access to a lot of resources. Our music tradition and heritage is just phenomenal. This community here at the museum is different than the community at my church or who I hang out with my friends. But we're all connected by where we live, who we are. We're all people. We all have common interest. And we're really more alike than we're different. We just need to recognize the differences and embrace those and play on the positives that we all have and bring to the table.
I spent almost 21 years in the Air Force and security forces. I came from a lower eastern North Carolina family, and we had great values in our family, but there wasn't a lot of diversity in thought or anything, and going into the military, of course, in my experience, it is the most diverse group of people I have ever seen and worked with and met and learned from. I'm very grateful for the experience I had in the Air Force. I was a single dad, 3 children still living with me. My oldest son had also gone in the military, and I think the biggest struggle I ever had was when 9/11 happened, and I'll never forget. Everything just changed. The whole world changed, including my life, because I had been assigned duty that would not let me be with my kids for probably 70 some days, I believe it was, that I didn't get to really see them in the daylight, so to speak. And if it wasn't for my middle son, Justin, who was there to take care of my children, the other 2 girls, his 2 sisters, for me while I was away, I don't know what I'd have done. And that was a huge struggle for me, both logistically and of course, emotionally. It was really, really tough. Moving here to Caldwell County and Lenoir, it was scary. And meeting all these people, those struggles seem, like so far in the past. I don't even see a struggle for us anymore.
Speaking as a African American woman in a leadership role, I think there could be many more of me, and there probably are many more of me that have the same passions or the same interest and just a love for the community. Most of the boards, I'm one of the maybe 2 African Americans that maybe served on some of the major boards. And I also try to be a role model for others to follow, whether it's young girls, not only African American women, but just anyone in leadership, be at the table to make a difference.
I'm the director of the Caldwell Men's Chorus. I'm very proud of that group. I've been directing them since 2006. And I say that we're the best kept musical secret in Western North Carolina. We have wonderful singers. It's all male. And anywhere from ages 14 to 89 at various points we've had. So we have a full plethora and range of singers. Also, I want to promote our Hudson Dinner Theater. We're on our 31st dinner theater production right now. But we're doing the play To Kill a Mockingbird. Jimmy Jenkins, who is a friend of mine, He plays Reverend Sykes in the show. And Jimmy and I go back a long way. We last did a show together over 20 years ago, but it's delightful to get to work with him again. And he came up to me and said, besides just entertaining and besides just making people think, it would be nice if we could have something to come out of this show that helps people to communicate and forwards race relations. We're going to have a little roundtable discussion down at the Hudson Uptown building where we do plays, just to create a dialogue. It's very informal. But Miss Maudie Atkinson, a character in the play, talks about how you're in Macomb, Alabama in 1935 and there's still incredible racism and prejudice, but one can take baby steps. And I think that's what we're trying to do with this. We're being very careful and very sensitive to address these in a proper and a fair way. We're all coming at life from a different standpoint. So my vision for the future is just that we continue to grow. The thing I've been trying to preach lately is life is so short. We need to be kind to each other and take care of each other. There's always room for improvement, but I feel proud to be a member of Caldwell County.
Young Fellow is special in that we're an old agency. We are now 53 years old. And Young Fellow is an agency, yes, we have a stated mission, but we are also quite thoughtful when a gap in services becomes evident in the community. Young Fellow tends to step out and see how that gap in services can be addressed. What can we do? I think Young Fellow's greatest asset is we're very flexible, very forward-thinking. Through our food pantry, our thrift store, our emergency assistance office, the shelter, Leo's our shelter, we respond.
I define my community as very supportive, friendly, willing to help their fellow neighbor or citizen. What comes to mind is the public library, which offers a lot of materials for not only for English speakers, but also they have a large Spanish language collection that newcomers can take advantage of. Property was affordable, and that has become true because we've recently paid off a 30-year mortgage in 18 years, so dream come true. My future vision of Caldwell County would be a community with continuing growth, economic prosperity for every resident here in Caldwell County.
We are definitely evolving, definitely progressing. This is definitely one of those communities that if you looked back 5 years, you could see that a lot of things have changed and that a lot of things are getting better for those who live here and those who are coming to visit. I would definitely say that I have privilege as being a white person and coming from a middle class family, being able to, afford a car, being able to pay for college without having to worry about where my next meal is going to come from. But I definitely do feel underrepresented in the fact that invisible illnesses are still a big problem in our community. When you're older, it can be more serious, and it's really hard to figure out what to sacrifice in order to make yourself better. I know I feel unrepresented more in the LGBTQ community. Being able to be accepted wherever you go is really difficult, and knowing that, some people go home and they just have to not be themselves is very terrifying. And the fact that they're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live in my house if I say something. And that's not something that anybody should feel.
We've been here for a little over 6.5 years. I have seen so much positive change with people, just how they treat each other and how they include everyone. They're caring people, and they really want to do what's good for Caldwell County. I see Caldwell County in our town of Lenoir continuing to grow and prosper and diversifying, not just in business or not just in parks and things like that, but growing in people, because people are so important to any community. And I will tell you that diversity brings great thought. Diversity brings so much to our community, and it results in everybody just thriving and being a better community. I see Caldwell straight on that path.
Our community are the folks that live around us. Whether you live in a small community or you live in town, you live out in the county, it's people around us.
I would define my community as very loving, one that has had its share of setbacks, no different than other places, but I feel like we have the ability to work together and take any of those things that have presented itself as an obstacle and turn it into an opportunity for us to be better.
Where we can make a difference is in our own community, with our own neighbors in our own neighborhoods. We can take care of each other, and we all need to make a conscious effort to do that every day. Life's too short otherwise.
I think we need to continue to push innovation. I was born in Lenore, raised through the Caldwell County Public Schools, raised my children through the Caldwell County Public Schools. I've always been very proud of this community. It's a community that does have challenges, but there's always this undercurrent of trying to move beyond the challenges and search for solutions.
Being able to know that there are other people out there who understand what you're going through and know that you're not alone is definitely something that is really great about this community.